Hi there and welcome. This is a Performance with Push tutorial. I'm Steve Glenn and I'll be walking you through the lesson today. Today we'll be talking about using a drum rack and a single clip within that drum rack to play your entire song in a clip. The alternative that people usually go to is a clip launcher function like like this setup right here. It's pretty cool because it allows you to play loops as well as do some finger drumming as well. But with Push, I felt like it wasn't flexible enough to do what I wanted to do, and that's why I put everything into one drum rack. So, finger drumming, like that. Okay. Also, I always get confused with that one on the end there. Anyhow, so that's my full loop. Okay, so you can do some, not very good at it, but you can do some finger drumming with that to sort of spice things up. I like finger drumming as like an intro into the next track that you're going to do, and you can sort of use the sounds from the next track with the rhythm of the previous track, and I find that's a good transitional tool, as well as for fills and stuff. If you want to sort of spice up what you're recording, it's a good thing to do. But the problem is, if I wanted to affect my audio processing, I can do it one track at a time. So in this one, my manipulations to this output scale to my kick rack. Say if I want to adjust things here, that's cool. I can get in there and put macros to a rack or whatever, and have some really fine control over the audio in each of these tracks, but I can only do it one at a time. Otherwise I have to go here, clap, next thing, track button, that button, that button. It's 3 buttons. So you can only manipulate one thing at a time. I can't do groups of things at a time unless I go to the group of all of these instruments where I have the routing. But routing's naturally done from each of these tracks into here. Now I have one signal that comes in that is combined of my kick, claps, shaker, 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 conga, bass line, all into here, and then I can manipulate that one signal as a group. And that's cool. You can get a lot done with that. And that's a good way to start. Good place to start when you're doing experimenting. But over here is your whole drum rack with, this is how people, I would assume a normal way to program a drum rack. And if I hit these buttons, I can. But with Push, I also have a sequencing section up here. Pads here for drum fingering, drum pads or selecting pads. And then over here is the loop control. So that means that I can... Here's my entire clip. Usually when you think of a clip, you think of that is all of the information that you're going to play is within that clip. But with Push, it gives you control over how to jump around within that clip. So those 2 buttons right there will give me that section. These 2 buttons will give me there. That 8 will give me that long section there. So it's a really creative way to jump around within your arrangement and make up your own arrangements on the fly, which is a great thing about, you know, like session view. And or even if you're just going to go through sequentially through each of the groups, you can still get a full song out of it. But how do you get to the point where complex patterns like this drum line are going to go in there? Because each of these pads plays one button. Well, I can assign to each one to its own pad, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to keep things a little simple to show you how to use nested drum racks. And for now, I'm just going to freeze this, flatten this, and now I'm just going to import I got little placeholders here. Place the drum lines, those full patterns, two, yep, okay. Okay. And then I can sequence them along. See, I've already put in a full note for that whole bar there. And if I play that section, oops, missed one. Great, I can play that repeating loop. The problem is, though, or a con with this concept, is that this is unwarped. Over here, if I manipulate the tempo, everything is going to stay in time. Because these loops are warped, and this MIDI track always has to be warped, or now this audio track always has to be warped. So that's one limitation, and I'll show you in later videos how to get around it, but I'm making things simple just for today. For today's real lesson, which is the nested drum rack. Because these instruments are basically the same, the only thing that changes is their note pattern. I want to process them the same. So I've placed an auto pan as my sidechain compression and my low pass filter here. And a good way to save both CPU power and to affect things in the same space. So if I have a couple different hi-hats, I'll usually put them with the same compression and the same reverb, the same instance of those things, to make them sound like in their. It helps with sound design. Puts them a little bit in the same space and really helps with your compression sound design. So what I want to do is I could copy these instances over to my other rack, but I'd prefer to group them like this. So now I have a drum rack within a drum rack within an instrument rack. And if ever you wanted to go in and check out your mixer here, this is sort of the hierarchy of everything. I have my kick, snare, conga, and my hi-hats. And then on the same level is my bass line. And then two bass lines in it. And they have a routing section, you'll notice, and a mixer channel as well for every single one. I'm going to come all the way back up to the top here. That's handy sometimes, usually in like mix downs, but I'm going to put that away for now and just have just this one section. And you'll notice that it hit this section before when I was going through that, but what I renamed was this, and it populated that to there. So a bass line, and I'm going to take these two effects and drag them outside the rack. Close that. So if I map this to sidechain amount and say 4, bass, low pass, Cool. Now I have this auto pan. The sidechain affects both bass lines and nothing else. Doesn't affect my congas, my snares, my kicks, anything else. Cool. I'll show you what that looks like. Up here I have my bass line playing. It's just a steady note. Hey, sorry about that. The final thing to do here is to right click on the title bar of that top rack and click on lock to control surface, push. And now if I navigate around, it's always going to stay locked to the, I'm going to leave it on device here. It's going to stay locked to that. And I have full control over my whole set here. My final example is I have a low pass filter that controls the entire rack. This conga reverb is a reverb and delay that only affects the channel that the conga is on. And then my bass low pass and my bass sidechain emulation compression emulation mount is on its own knob too. This has been Steve Glenn. Thanks for tuning in. Tune in next time while we delve a little deeper into Push for performance using the stock scripting like we did today.